Is this recording? I... I've never recorded a video before, so I'm not sure if this is recording yet. I'll hope it is, I guess. And if it isn't, then I'll have to re-record this. Anyway, hi, I'm Lyric, and I'm recording a video because I just played the final episode of Telltale's The Walking Dead, and I have thoughts, or more accurately, I have emotions. I have emotions and thoughts, both of which are important. And it's like 6 in the morning, and no one else is really awake to talk with me about it, so I thought I'd record a video and maybe put it on the internet, because that has to be a good idea, I guess. So I'm just going to get right into it. There's going to be spoilers, so if you haven't seen the episode, don't watch this, because you have to see the episode because it's the best and also the most painful thing ever. And pain is good, actually, so you should watch it. I don't know what point I'm making. For reference, I've only played it once, and there's a couple things that can change. So, in my playthrough, Lily got away, James died, Violet died, and I'm still upset about it, and 10 lived, and AJ, I tried to teach AJ that how to be a person, I guess. Those are the two main themes of this season, I think. How to be a person and how to say goodbye. I think those are the two main themes. That's what I'm interpreting it as. Goodness gracious. I'm not going to bother with like a recap of the episode, because if you haven't seen it, don't watch this video. It's as simple as that. This really is just going to be like a total ramble rant, like ramble review, I guess, except it's not really a review. So I think like the main thing that keeps sticking with me, keeps being as of an hour since I finished the episode, is just how much it hurts to have lost Violet. Just like how much that hurts for Clem to still be alone, even though she's not alone, but just to like lose one more person who meant so much to her in a way that like no one else had meant up till that point. That that really hurts. And this is Telltale, so I can, or it's Skybound, I guess, Telltale's gone, but I could go back and change that and have 10 die instead, which would be horrible, but I could do it, and I could, maybe that'd be a happier ending if 10 was dead and Violet was still alive. Maybe that'd be happier. But I'm really like thinking about it, and I think I can't do that, right? Even though that's like the thing that probably devastated me the most. Well, okay, what devastated me the most was Clem's death. That fake out was really well handled, but once I found out Clem was alive, then it was, oh, she's alive without Violet though, and like walking past her grave and stuff was just the worst. But it still doesn't feel right for some reason to go back and change things. That just doesn't feel right. And I think the reason why is that more so than any of the other previous seasons, this is a season that's really about sticking with your choices. And not just sticking with your choices, but again, like how to say goodbye. That's literally a line that Clem has in the first episode, that Lee taught her how to say goodbye. And of course, we are Clem. What we're taking away from that is that like this series, this story has taught us, the players, how to say goodbye. Like in a meta sense, like we're saying goodbye to this story and to these characters, and we really have to learn how to say goodbye and move on. There isn't really another option. Like, you can't just play the game over and over again forever and stay with these characters. The story is done. You have to say goodbye. But I think in the text, what it means about, like, being a person, that's the other thing. It's all about parenting and Clem teaching AJ how he should live, how he should be, right? And I think part of one of those lessons that Clem is teaching AJ and the game, the story, is teaching us is how to say goodbye and how to let the bad things go and keep moving forward. And for AJ, that's because you have to. Like, that's the whole central thing, is if Clem gets bit, he wants to stay with her. He can't let go. He has to keep moving. He has to keep, he has to keep moving, but in his mind, he can't let go. He has to stay with her. If she dies, he has to die with her. Oh my god. This season is devastating. And that's, like, the central thing, is she does get bit, and he's like, I want to stay with you. And I'm very close to crying again, because, like I said, it's been an hour or so since I finished it. But, goodness gracious. For us, like, he has to keep moving in order to survive, and we have to keep moving in order to be, like, again, like, we're not in a zombie apocalypse. We're not going to, like, literally be torn apart by walkers or zombies if we don't let go of the people we love when we have to move on, or the places we love, or, you know, just generally when we have to move on, when we have to say goodbye. But we are going to be, like, not fully formed people if we haven't learned how to say goodbye. And I think that's, like, really what the game is saying, is that you have to learn to say goodbye sometimes in your life. It might not be the literal textual things happening in the game, like, if you can't move on, you're going to die, but you are going to be, like, less of a person, in a way, or less of what a person should be. A person should be able to say goodbye. And maybe that's kind of, like, that whole idea of personhood, maybe that's, like, antithetical to the walker thing, because walkers can't say goodbye, or they can't move on. Like, when you're a walker, you're stuck that way. That's why it's so important for Clem, why she had to kill Lee, or why she had to tell AJ to kill her, is because, you know, it's not just saying goodbye, but it's, you know, it's being a person, is being able to move forward, and you can't move forward if you're a walker. You're stuck like that. So that's antithetical to being a person. Maybe being a person is a strong word, but, like, I don't know, like, being a healthy person. But even then, like, there are characters who are not healthy. I liked that line when AJ forgave 10, and he was like, I understand what happened to you. It was your trauma. Because people who have trauma, people who are mentally ill, they're still people, I guess. Like, but it's, I don't think there's a person in the story who isn't a person, right? Because, like, the whole thing of, like, oh, if you can't say goodbye, that's, like, it's saying that saying goodbye is part of being a human being, being a person. But, like, James, in a lot of ways, can't say goodbye. He can't leave things behind. He believes that there is something for the walkers after they die. He believes that they stay, and in a way that's sort of, like, the complete opposite of what Clem believes, or what she's been taught to believe by Lee, and what we've been taught as sort of, like, just people being in this series of what everyone believes. He's the opposite of that. And I guess before I'd want to really say anything about James, I'd want to see what happens if he lives, because he died for me, and that was awful. But, yeah. It's not about personhood, but it's about, like, growing up. And a lot of the game is about growing up. So yeah, part of growing up is saying goodbye. I just latched onto this, like, I just latched onto this 5 seconds ago, that's about growing up. But it makes sense, right? Because we, the players, grew up with Clem grew up, AJ is growing up, and part of growing up is learning to say goodbye and learning all of these other lessons to never go alone, to keep moving forward. And in a way, I think that as much as the game is this cycle of characters teaching other characters, Lee taught Clem, and then in a way we sort of had to see Clem. Part of why season 2 is so dark and nihilistic and sort of like aimless is because it was Clem without a teacher, and she wasn't ready yet. And look, I still don't like season 3, but thematically, if you're going to carry this thematic through line throughout the whole thing, season 3 does fit because it's like Javier and his family teaching Clem to be open to like people again. So you have this like Lee taught Clem was without a teacher, Javier and his family taught Clem again after she had sort of like taken the wrong lessons from because she was alone for so long, and then Clem teaches AJ. And the whole time I think the series and the games are like teaching us how to grow up, and we take the lessons that Clem and that AJ and that the other characters learn. I feel like it wants us to learn as well. It wants us to learn how to never go alone, to learn how to say goodbye. And these are lessons that people are learning in the apocalypse, but there's still things that apply to us, right? That's what I really like about it. And that ramble took me on a path. I got away from Violet. But I think part of why I don't want to go back and save Violet, I mean, I do want to, but I think part of the reason why I shouldn't is because you have to learn how to say goodbye. And also, like, no one's life is worth more than anyone else's, because going back and saving Violet would mean letting Ten die. And that's, I wouldn't want to do that, because leaving Violet behind again to go on another circuitous ramble into another topic, but the afterlife. I remember when AJ met up with Ten again after the ranch dream scene. I was like literally shouting no, no, no at the screen when Ten was saying like I was naive, I was wrong. 'Cause Ten's whole thing is he believes in the afterlife. He believes that everyone's going to meet each other at this big house in this beautiful place after they're gone. And he says I was naive and that was wrong. And he asks AJ teach me to be more like you. And one of the most cathartic moments in the episode was having the option to say no, as AJ to say no, I think I need to be more like you, to believe more. And I don't know how this fits with the saying goodbye theme, but it is another thing. Like, the afterlife is a thing that comes up. James believes in a type of afterlife, Ten believes in a type of afterlife, and AJ sort of rejects both of those, and yet he's very much drawn to both of those. He's very much drawn to the idea that maybe you stay behind when you die, or when you become a walker, that there's still something left there, or that there is some place to go to after you die. He's drawn to those ideas, and yet he rejects them. Like, regardless of whatever choices you make, up until you can as him, tell Ten that AJ still has a lot to learn from Ten. But he does, mostly on his own, reject those, and a lot of it's framed as, like, villainous, almost, when Minnie shows up and wants to bring Ten with her into that sort of, like, afterlife that Ten's idealized. It's, like, a horrific thing. Minnie is dying, and can I just say, like, that image of Minnie showing up to the bridge, singing, with, like, chunks of flesh torn out of her is probably the most horrific thing, that's the most horrific visual that's ever just been in The Walking Dead. It is literally horrible. But it is villainized in a way, but it also is like, it's really worthwhile. You see one of Ten's drawings, or I guess that's one of AJ's drawings, I don't know who drew it. No, that makes sense because Ten was missing, but the drawing of Clem and Violet together on Violet's grave. Oh. But I don't know. I'm someone who's spiritual, so I'm someone who believes in the afterlife, and I don't know, maybe that's something that it lets you decide for yourself, where it doesn't have to teach you necessarily, but it wants you to decide. But it does want to teach you to say goodbye. And I don't know. I just, those things I've been thinking about over and over in my head for the past hour or so, because I can't get out of my head. I am going to be so emotionally vulnerable for a while recovering from this episode, and I'm probably just going to be thinking about it forever. Like, this is seriously, I think, one of the most important stories that I've just ever experienced in my life. It's so important, so emotionally important to me and these characters, and it has, I think, its message over the many, many years that I've been sticking with this whole series, not just this last season, has been like teaching me things and telling me things, and like this is the value and the importance that a story can have, is it can teach you things, or even just like make you feel less alone. But like after the end of this, I'm just like, I don't ever want to be alone. I don't want to be stuck in one place not knowing how to say goodbye. And I think of everything, I'm going to be most grateful for this story and everyone who was ever involved in making it. Just like really grateful for the lessons it taught me. And I think I'm gonna go cry some more. So yeah, this was my first attempt at recording a video, because I just had things in my head that I wanted to say and I wanted to share them, and I hope that you, whoever you is that watches this, I hope you appreciate that, or not, but I really just needed to speak this sort of like truth that this is, if anything, like the strongest proof in my life that stories can speak to you and can be so, so important, and they can teach you things, and this taught me lessons that I'm going to be carrying with me for the rest of my life, and I'm really going to start crying now, so I'm going to end the video. Okay, bye.